Hey guys, welcome back to Audio.etc. I think it's about time I, finally did a updated version of the sound system that I've got in my Mitsubishi Legnum here. So it's a 2000 Mitsubishi Legnum Viento GDI. I'm not huge on the whole mechanics side of thing. I'm more about the sounds and the electrics. So I'll give you a brief tour of what I've got in it, and after that, quick demo. I'm going to try and go into as much detail as I can, like everything that I've done to it that's aftermarket at least. Before we even get inside the vehicle, I start off outside. So we've got ourselves some nice LED driving lights here and there. Under here, there is a forward-facing camera there which I put on. I'll show you what that does later on. If I switch the lights on, you get these 4 front-facing ones. At the back here, 2 more LED lights. Those come on when I've got the lights on and the reverse, and it's in reverse. So it's only really for when I'm backing up, it lights up what's behind the car a bit better, and it works really well in conjunction with this high quality reversing camera which I've installed as well. A few stickers: Soundstream, Apple, Rockford Fosgate, Rockford, because I'm all about Rockford Fosgate. Okay, sitting in the car now. Okay, so the hub of it all, the heart of the system, has definitely got to be this head unit which I recently installed. Quite an expensive one. It's a Pioneer AVH X8750. It does SD card input, 2 USB inputs. It does Bluetooth for hands-free and for playing music, HDMI input, radio obviously, CD, DVD, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, reversing cameras in, pretty much everything a stereo could possibly do. It's got 5-volt pre-outs, so that's really good for my amplified system. If I go home here, you'll see I've got a whole list of sources: radio, USB iPod 1, SD card, Bluetooth audio, camera view, source off disc, USB 2 auxiliary input, AV input, and then this one here you can choose what, it has a rear AV output, so you can choose what source you play to the rear outputs if you've got rear screens in the back of the car or something like that. I'll show you what my cameras have since I just showed you them. So at the moment it's on, so that's the forward facing camera. I recently put that one on just for the sake of, since this stereo can take 2 camera inputs, I thought, oh well, I might as well have a second camera. It's really helpful for when I'm doing quite tight parallel parks, but normally it's on the rear camera facing out the back. That's what you see there, my tow ball and everything. And of course, if I was on radio or something and the ignition was on and I was driving, as soon as I put it in reverse, it comes straight up with the reversing camera so I can see what's behind me. But that's obviously relatively standard. So I've got my lightning cable there which just runs up the center, to the center glove box where I've got one of my USB sources there, and the other USB source just pops out in the glove box there. But the cool thing about this is that when I just plug my phone in with my lightning cable, there we go, it's in, starts charging, should come up with CarPlay relatively soon. There we go, Apple CarPlay. This is really, really cool. So it's showing what I was playing last on my phone, but if I just press this home button here, I've got my phone, music, my maps, messages, now playing Pioneer, home, podcast, audiobooks, and also this works with Spotify and Pandora if you've got it on your phone. I don't, because I have all my music on my phone. But I can just use Siri to control everything by saying, "Hey Siri," and it starts listening to me and asking me what I want to do. Also with the head unit, I've recently, if I just go home, I've recently installed this little steering wheel control unit. This was in like this junk box of my work, not doing anyone any good. I managed to, get this. It's just like it's stuck onto the steering column there, and I've got some controls I can do here. I've got like volume, up and down channel, forward and back. Source button, I can skip between them. Back to CarPlay there. Mute. I've got, if I hold this button here, I can get voice control, answer the phone, hang up the phone, all that stuff. That was really, just a bit of fun, because I could, since we had that lying around, not doing anything. You may notice I've gone a bit overboard with all the Rockford Fosgate emblems. So obviously I've got tweeters up there with the stickers, Rockford Fosgate emblems. Don't worry, I didn't spend ridiculous amounts of money on those. I actually got those off Rockford Fosgate grills, which didn't get used by customers. Microphone for hands-free. Dash cam for recording the idiots who try to crash into me sometimes. Okay, back to the sound system side of things. Okay, so in the front doors, I've got Rockford Fosgate P1675-S. So punch series component speakers, 6 3/4 inch component speakers with the woofer down here and the tweeter obviously. I've put some, blue LEDs in there, or blue white LEDs in there, connected it to the power of the electric windows, so they turn on. They look really nice when you're driving along, got a bit of light in behind there. In the back I've got T1675, just the coaxial versions in the doors there. You can see the other one over there. Amplifiers under the driver's seat here. I've got, you may not be able to see it on the camera if I push the seat all the way back. I've got myself just a Sony 4-channel in there. That was free from a customer who didn't want it anymore. He just gave that to me, and I haven't had any problems with it. I've been thinking about upgrading to a Rockford one sometime soon, but I just haven't felt the need to spend the extra money on a different brand amp which is going to do the same sort of power. It does 80 watts RMS by 4, which is all my speakers need, so it actually does a really good job, and it's quite big as well, so that means it's got a decent sized heatsink on it. Under the under the passenger seat, I've got my subwoofer amplifier, Rockford Fosgate Punch 1000 X1 BD. So that does 1400 watts. It's rated to do 1000 watts at 1 ohm. The birth certificate said it did 1400 watts at 1 ohm, so I'm happy to go with that figure. Power supply side of things, I haven't done a huge amount. I just pop the bonnet. So on the power supply side of things, I haven't really gone, all out with that. Okay, excuse all the dust and everything. It's a dusty car at the moment. It needs a good clean. So it's not like a high power battery, anything like that, but it is new. I did upgrade my battery as soon as I bought the car to a nice high power one, and I've kept it. I've treated it really well. I've been, discharging it and charging it really nicely, and it's held up really good. Still in good condition according to the meter. Some good, gold terminals on here. A fuse holder with a 250 amp fuse in it. 1 gauge power cable. 0 gauge earth cable going down to the chassis rail there. That's all there really is to see under the bonnet. I haven't upgraded the alternator or anything like that. But that 1 gauge power cable comes back here. So if I just lift up this, here we've got a false floor which I built, and if you want you can see how I built that in one of my other videos. It's not in the Audio.etc playlist, it's just in the standard car audio back when I was just doing some quick videos before I started this. So if you lift up this little panel here, we've got a SoundStream 20 farad capacitor, which is obviously a massive overkill for my vehicle, but it was really cheap, and you can't go wrong with more capacitance. So just put that little thing back on there. This whole thing obviously lifts up and down, but it stays there nicely, and people put their feet on it, they don't mind. And now to the big side of things. In the boot, I've got myself, oh god, I'm messy. Got myself 2 Rockford Fosgate P3 D4-15s. So they're dual 4-ohm 15-inch punch series subwoofers. The box, obviously this is all done myself. I custom designed it. It's custom to the extent that I built it with a notch out the back of it so that I could have this pullover cover in it. If I lift that up, you see it recesses down there and goes all the way to the back of the seats, flush mounted to the back of the seats. These are just panels which are covering up that space, and it just makes it look a bit cleaner and tidier. But it's really handy having that recess there, because now I can pull this back and close the boot, and obviously you can't tell if there's any subs or anything in there, and no one's going to want to try and steal the car or break into it. If I just fold the seat forward a wee bit, you'll see that I've got the sub box all the way to the back of the seats. Made that fiberglass insert there and put some gold 8-gauge terminal cups there. So it's 8-gauge wiring going from the amp to the subs. So wiring wise, it's got Tsunami fuse holder and fuses, Tsunami RCA, Tsunami power cable, obviously the 0 gauge and 4 gauge to everything. Goes from 4 gauge from that capacitor out to the separate amplifiers. That's the other main reason I did buy it, was because it's going to act as a really nice distribution block, because it can that capacitor has 0 gauge and then out inputs on it, and then 3 lots of 4 gauge outputs on it. So it's really good because you can hook up multiple amplifiers to it nice and cleanly. I think it's probably about time I did a little demo for you guys. Just a real quick one. Got the not going to do it with the engine running or anything like that, not that it makes much difference with my stock alternator, but I'll just play some music off my iPhone here. If I go playlists, Rockford demo, Mafia. So yeah, that's what it sounds like. Obviously no camera mic is going to give you the full experience of what it sounds like. Something I didn't mention before was that the box is a sealed enclosure, not a ported enclosure. The reason I went for that and not a ported enclosure is because ported enclosures are great, but I find they're more specified or more designed for SPL competitions. I like a lot of music, and I wanted a more linear slope on my SPL graph, so I prefer a sealed box just because it makes it a bit smoother, means all the frequencies are ironed out nice and even. Whereas if I had a port in it, what I might be doing is listening to a song and then all of a sudden one particular bass note hits twice as hard as all the others, and that's cool, but it's just not what I wanted for my own personal listening pleasures. So I'm happy with it being a sealed enclosure. Obviously it means it doesn't hit as hard on the SPL, but I'm quite interested to see what sort of SPL it does. I did recently discover that my work actually has a TermLab kit somewhere in the building from like the 90s. We haven't done any SPL testing or TermLabbing in the 4 years that I've been here. Just no one's wanted to spend the money on that. So I'll be definitely trying to hook this car up to the TermLab and see what it actually can do. So stay tuned for that. Well guys, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Make sure to check out my Facebook page and give it a like. I've got lots of photos and everything up there of other installs that I've done, photos of my installs on my Legnum here. And be sure to subscribe to my channel if you're a new viewer. I do car audio demos, unboxings, all the works. Check out my Facebook page. It's Audio.etc, spelled ETC. And thanks for watching. Cheers.